everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to another video, and today we are here for another severe weather breakdown. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Now I wanted to make a video earlier today, but unfortunately things just didn't work out. So I'm making one now, but just pretend like this was the afternoon video for today, okay? I'm sorry I couldn't get one out. I'll be back to my normal schedule tomorrow, most likely. Now starting off with the SPC outlook for today, we have a slight risk of severe weather here across portions of northern and central Florida, and then a marginal risk of severe weather across portions of the upper Midwest here. So let's go ahead and break down the threats that these bring, starting off with the tornado threat for today, where we have a 5% chance, or a 5% risk of a tornado here in portions of Tampa, Melbourne, and Orlando here, almost going back up to Tallahassee and Jacksonville in central Florida. So definitely look out. We had a few tornado warnings earlier, but we never actually had a confirmed tornado on the ground, but we're still seeing some rotating thunderstorms in here, which is why we still have that 5% risk. Also, I want to clear this up right now because I actually had somebody ask the other day, well, if it's only a 5% chance of a tornado, why are you so worried about it? That's not necessarily what that means. That means a 5% chance in any given location, okay? So you could put yourself down right here and you have a 5% risk of a tornado, or you could go down here and you have a 5% risk of a tornado, okay? So in actuality, the actual 5% bubble there is more like a 50% chance to see one anywhere in there. Hopefully that clears it up a little bit. I just didn't want to make any confusion and make it sound like I'm making a huge fuss over a no big deal, because a 5% risk is actually pretty significant. Anyway, let's go and move on to the damaging wind threat. We have a 15% risk to see wind gusts of 60 miles an hour or higher here in the same area in northern and central Florida, mainly the Great Bend region, so look out for some damaging wind potential tonight. And then we have a 5% risk here in portions of Nebraska. That's going to extend almost up to Norfolk, almost back out to Cheyenne here. Not really, though. I mean, Nebraska is like the most rural area in the entire world, dude. Hail threat. We have a 5% risk of hail of 1 inch or larger today. This is going to go out once again almost to Cheyenne, almost back over to Peoria here. I know Peoria was included in this earlier today, but we could definitely still see some large hail tonight. Once again, we did see some of that earlier here, and we're actually still seeing some in like the Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois region. So look out for that. Moving on to tomorrow here, we have 2 slight risks of severe weather. One's down here in the Great Bend in Florida again, or the Big Bend rather. And then one's going to be here in the Central Plains, okay? This is your classic fall storm setup. So tornado threat for tomorrow, we have 2 5% risks to see a tornado tomorrow. One's going to be here that extends all the way from down into Tampa, almost back up to Jacksonville. And then this one's going to include Norfolk in Nebraska, okay? So I actually think that we have a really good chance to see a tornado tomorrow. Damaging wind threat for tomorrow, we have 2 5% risks to see wind gusts of 60 miles an hour or higher. And these are both pretty big, so go ahead and find your city or town name or wherever you're at in there, and then yeah, you have a damaging wind threat if you're in there. Hail threat for tomorrow, we have a 15% risk to see hail of 1 inch or larger. I would not be surprised if we got a hatch risk out of this, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think tomorrow the main threat's going to be flooding rains and then large hail, I think is going to be another big threat, and maybe a tornado or two. Now, going into Friday here, we already have a marginal risk of severe weather across portions of the Midwest here. Again, this is kind of more eastward than most fall storms, but this is just another classic fall storm setup, okay? This is not one that you're going to want to mess around with. It is going to be pretty intense, but it's not going to be terrible, you know? It's just one of those severe thunderstorms move through all the time. National Hurricane Center here, we have Tropical Storm Sean, but we're going to break that down more later. And then we have disturbances, a 30% chance to form the next 7 days and a 20% chance to form the next 48 hours. But even if this does form, which it's most likely not going to, it's definitely not going for America. Maybe the Lesser Antilles, but we really don't know yet. Eastern Pacific, we do have a disturbance here. There's a 20% chance to form the next 7 days. This is really surprising that they put a 20% risk on this. Earlier today, this wasn't even here, and it's really not looking terrible to me, and it's not going to impact anybody most likely anyway. I would like to point out, Hurricane Lydia was even worse than we expected after I uploaded that video saying it was going to be worse than expected. We saw the landfall of a Category 4 hurricane here, okay? It was just south of Tepic, and it was intense, okay? That was way bigger than it was expected to be just 24 hours ago, okay? That was pretty big. Central Pacific, nothing new. So let's go ahead and move on to the path for Sean here. Sean is currently a 40 mile per hour storm, and it's really not expected to intensify, and it's going to head off to the west here, and eventually in its lifetime here, just east of the Lesser Antilles, is a 35 mile per hour storm. You might get some stray showers from this, but it's really not going to be a big deal. It's not really going to reach you guys in the Lesser Antilles. Climate Prediction Center here, 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. We still have an area that has an 80 to 90% chance to see below average temperatures here in portions of northern Florida, southern Georgia, and southeastern Alabama. So that Arctic air is really going to be entering this region. You're going to stop seeing those 70s and 80s for lows, and you're going to get down into like the 40s and 30s for lows potentially. And then western U.S. here has a 70 to 80% chance to see above average temperatures in the pink, and that's a pretty big area as well, okay? So you're going to see that summer heat really return in this region. So look out for that. 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. We have an area that has a 50 to 60% chance to see below average precipitation here, specifically down in the desert southwest in the darkest shade of brown there, so look out for that. But most of the country, honestly, is going to be seeing below average precipitation, most likely from the 17th to the 21st, so look out for that. Maybe a little bit dry out here with our cold, new, crisp fall air. 8 to 14 day outlooks. We still have an area that's going to have a 70 to 80% chance to see above average temperatures here in the western U.S. From October 19th to the 25th, so definitely look out for that. The Arctic blast will have pretty much dissipated by this point, just some stray cold air, cold air there. 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook. Once again, 19th to the 25th. We have an area that has a 40 to 50% chance to see below average precipitation here in the western U.S. once again, so look out for that. It's going to be pretty dry here, okay? Finally, watches, warnings, and advisories. This is the big thing. Not only do we have some high wind warnings in effect here for our storms that are rolling through down here in like New Mexico, but in Wyoming, Colorado, we have a huge snowstorm moving through. This is really the first one of the season. In the higher elevations, we could see 20 to 30 inches of snow. No, that's not a joke. Surface level, 8 to 16 inches possible. But if you're in the pink there, that's a winter storm warning, okay? You are going to get a dumping of snow. And it is really early for that. You know, early October, we just don't see this very often, okay? But the snowstorm season is starting early. Red flag warnings in effect here for portions of New Mexico and Colorado because we are going to have some pretty high winds. So look out for that. Don't be burning anything if you're in that pink box there. Air quality alerts in effect here for portions of Central California and the gray. Look out for that. We have freeze watches, freeze watches, freeze warnings, frost advisories, really just scattered across the western U.S. there. So find your county. Light blue, that's going to be a freeze watch. Dark blue, freeze warning. And medium blue, that's going to be a frost advisory, so look out for that. We actually have a I don't know what these are called, the hydrological outlooks here in portions of northeast Illinois and northwest Indiana right now, which are pretty rare, honestly, but we're going to see a bunch of rain in this region over the next few days, as we are already right now, so look out for that. But we have some frost advisories here in northern Michigan, but other than that, I would say pretty calm like I usually do, but it's not calm. We got a huge winter storm. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.